Is the US a Christian nation? While there is plenty of contention on the subject, no, this is not a Christian nation, and I'm going to explain why not. First off, there are several contexts in which the US is often referred to as a Christian nation. The Constitution and our rule of law, relevant to the intention of the founders, tradition and culture, which can basically be summed up as, Bibles belong in the classroom. No, they really don't. The popularity of Christianity. We're a majority Christian nation after all. Let's begin with the Constitution, the foundational document of the United States, which lays out the framework for governance and makes no reference to Christianity. In fact, the very first amendment in the Bill of Rights guarantees freedom of religion, not just freedom to practice Christianity, but freedom to practice any religion, or none at all. The Constitution doesn't establish any religion as the official one, nor does it support the idea that the government should favor one religious ideology over others. And let's not forget the preamble, we the people do ordain and establish this Constitution. You know what that means? It's humans, not gods, ordaining their own destiny. That's about as Christian as Anton LaVey. We the people made the choice to create a government that serves us, not one that's bound by religious doctrine. As Thomas Jefferson aptly put it, but it does me no injury for my neighbor to say there are 20 gods or no God. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. This underscores the principle that personal beliefs, religious or otherwise, should not interfere with the rights and freedoms of others. The Constitution enshrines this idea, ensuring that governance is based on reason and consent, not religious mandates. So many people point to the Declaration of Independence, but that letter was not written just to the King of England, but the leader of the Church of England as well. The reference to a creator was appropriate in that context, but in no way makes the US a Christian nation. I recently saw Mike Winger argue that the Treaty of Tripoli didn't mean anything. We were just trying to appease the Barbary pirates. Yet, our declaration is an objective statement of the US being rooted in theism? I don't think so, as the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. Signed in 1796 and ratified in 1797. Then there's the argument that we're a culturally Christian nation. What culture? A hodgepodge of every wild religious sect that made it over here from Europe? That makes us a Christian nation? Funny how that works. If we're talking about the US being a Christian nation, then everyone who calls themselves Christian, at least in some aspect or another, is Christian, right? However, when you dig deeper, you realize that many who call themselves Christian really only consider a small portion of people true Christians. All of these different denominations came here from Europe. Quakers, Puritans, Pilgrims, Anglicans, Lutherans, Presbyterians, Baptists, Methodists, Mennonites, Moravians, Catholics, Huguenots, Dutch Calvinists, and they hardly considered each other true Christians. The whole point of them coming here was to avoid persecution for their less than mainstream views. There was plenty of space for them to strike out and freely practice their own religions. If tradition means anything, it's that America has always been a mishmash of beliefs, constantly evolving and redefining itself, not just adhering to one single religious ideology. But traditionalists argue we should be instilling Christian values into the children. What Christian values? The values from the 1700s Christians? Christians can't even agree in the moment what those values actually are. While the majority of Americans identify as Christians, there is certainly no agreement on what being a Christian means. If we're going to lean on tradition, we should focus on the freedoms that have allowed us to believe whatever it is we believe. Freedom of thought, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and yes, the freedom to bear arms, and the capacity to live without being oppressed for those beliefs. That includes Christians as well. Though opposing Christians who seek to impose their beliefs on others is not oppression, plain and simple. And yes, it works the other way too, but there is so much confusion over what is actually being imposed. Regardless, we all have the right to advocate for what we believe. However, to say this is a Christian nation because a lot of people are Christian is quite a stretch. Look at the vaunted 10 Commandments. 5 of them would be thrown out as unconstitutional if they were passed into law. No other gods before me violates the First Amendment's Establishment Clause. Government can't favor one religion. No graven images. Violates the First Amendment. Can't prohibit religious expressions or symbols. Remember the Sabbath day. Violates religious freedom. Can't mandate religious observance. Honor your father and mother. Government can't regulate personal family relationships. Thou shalt not covet. Legislation can't criminalize thoughts or internal desires. Yet, this is the document many Christians want posted in schools, courthouses, and on gaudy monuments, while claiming our system is founded on those commandments. No, they're not. The truth is, Christianity deserves no more respect or acknowledgement than any other religion or lack thereof under the law. And if we want to lean on tradition, we should acknowledge that the tradition of America is rooted in the right to practice your beliefs freely, without forcing them on others. The notion that this country is Christian because of the number of Christians here is not reasonable. Not only is it an ad populum fallacy, but it's also a misinterpretation of what the nation was founded upon, a country that allows all faiths and no faith to coexist, not just one religious ideology dictating the national identity. If you watch this and disagree or think we should be a Christian nation, I'll leave you with a quote, a warning really, one I'd suggest you pay attention to. Who does not see that the same authority which can establish Christianity in exclusion of all other religions may establish with the same ease any particular sect of Christians in exclusion of all other sects? James Madison, in his Memorial and Remonstrance against Religious Assessments.